Today I have good news for you. I created an update of my photovoltaic simulation tool. Besides some error corrections, there are additional features implemented. We can use it now for any extreme orientation angles, as well as on really all places on Earth. It's just great when you can simulate a project before investing money and time. Of course, professionals can do that and advise you. But it's always best if you can assess something yourself. With photovoltaics, this is not always easy. As you know, I developed a tool to simulate the sustainable energy generation with sun, wind, water and biogas. I explained already the principle and some examples in episodes EX06 to EX09. Today I'm just sharing the improvements that come with the update. I added some features that are worthwhile to look at. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe the channel. As with other tools that I created, I have adapted the cover page better to the topic. I'm just going to briefly show the new features. I've made several improvements to the calculation. And in any case, I recommend going for this new version. It calculates more precisely, especially if you have an unusual orientation of your solar panels or if you want to simulate the solar yield at places near the pole regions. You can actually go up to plus and minus 89.9 degrees latitude now. In addition, you can now simulate any elevation angle of your solar panels between minus 90 degrees and plus 90 degrees. Then you can also specify partial shadowing both for the hour and the months. So, for example, 0.7. We go to the sheet Overview Year. You know, here we get a good overview of the whole year. We get the yields of all power generators we have, broken down for each month. In this case, we only have photovoltaics, but if we also had biogas, wind and water generations, then these yields would be also displayed here. Then we have a similar representation for our total consumption. In our case, from the household, small office, air conditioning and heating, as well as an electric vehicle. At the bottom, not just the totals are computed, even if it looks that way at a first glance. That's why I didn't name the field totals, but budgets. The situation for each hour in the year is considered, and then the totals for the different shares are calculated. In this way, the shares such as own consumption, feedback into the grid, grid consumption, etc. are calculated. I have now also added the grade of autarky, because everybody who deals with sustainable energy production would like to know that. In the battery and analysis sheet, the grade of autarky immediately gives us important feedback For example, if you want to find the right size of a buffer battery. If I change the size of the battery, here as an example, you will immediately see the effect. With this, you can find the right battery size, no matter if you just want to increase your degree of autarky or even dimension an off-grid system. A statistical average of every hour for the whole year is used. I have to say that the autarky grade simulation without battery is a bit overestimated, since the volatility of the solar power within the hour is not considered. And also, actually, it would not matter which year you look at. However, I decided that you can choose any year for the simulation. In this way, the simulation can be better compared with actually measured values based on the date, especially when there are differences in consumption between weekdays and weekend. Of course, the day you specify below must actually be in the year that you specified. Another detail worth mentioning is found in the economics sheet. The business case is now presented in two ways, namely with the battery as an investment and with the battery as an ongoing cost. The insights and the summary. Simulations in the polar regions, any orientation of the panels or large shadows, everything is possible. The tool now really simulates everything. This brings me back to the question of whether I should perhaps design a general tool that could run simulations at any scale. From microwatts to gigawatts, so to speak. That would be at least interesting for people who want to operate autark devices outdoors. What do you think about it? Write me in the comments. Now, stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe and support the channel. See you soon in the coming episodes.